Hey, what's going on guys? It is Cova here and welcome to the channel. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button before I kick this off. But today we are kicking it off with the footies and we're doing something on this channel where we're going to say what we were going to go for. And, you know, if you disagree with that, you can put in the comments and let me know what you would have gone for. But the footies are basically, you know, a community chosen basically players who get the chance to have a special card, special pink coloured item. They obviously get the stats boosted as well. So it's from the 22nd of July and it's up until the 29th of July. There's 44 potential players who can get pink cards. Obviously that gets now down to about 11. You know, they'll be in packs for 7 days and that's pretty much it. It's hard to explain. The 11 players will get a boost and we're going to go through the categories. So the categories are brick wall, which is the best goalkeeper. Get stuck in, best tackler. Skill as the light, obviously the best skiller in FIFA. Pot shots, best long distance finisher. Best of headers, best weak foot. Most loyal, best work rate, biggest year-on-year improvements. Most creative, and finally, best return to form. So, you know, it's an interesting one. Now, obviously, the cards look pretty sick. I'm going to do another video, a draft video probably, of trying to get all these pink cards. But for now, we're doing this vote. So obviously, everyone gets a chance to do this. It's on easports.com. Just search, you know, FIFA Footies vote, and you'll pretty much be able to get it. So this is the first one. We have the brick wall. Now, obviously, these are the players that are up for it. We've got Leno, we've got Handanovic, Lloris, and Ter Stegen. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to actually like put a little bit of like real life football into perspective on how they did last season, as well as obviously the player I'd like to see in the most in FIFA. So, you know, look at the four selections we got. We got Leno, who had a brilliant season with Bayer Leverkusen. Handanovic, who wasn't the best for Inter Milan, although you can argue that the team in front of him wasn't the best either. Lloris, who had a spectacular season with Tottenham. And Ter Stegen, who is a fantastic keeper, but only played in the Champions League for Barcelona. I think it was at cup competitions even. So, but look, judging that by that perspective, I'm pretty much going to rule out Handanovic. As much as I think he is a fantastic keeper in FIFA 16, I just think, you know, you can't really have him as like the best keeper. That makes sense. It's so hard to like put it. His stats are actually insane. Positioning is probably the best stats I like on goalkeepers, because obviously, you know, if a shot comes in, they've got to be in the right position. But obviously, all the other stats are usually quite high. But in keepers, you often find that the position is a lot lower. And Handanovic has got a lot of really good positioning. But even then, you know, playing him like with him in the game just doesn't seem that right. Same with Ter Stegen, as much as I love him as keeper. So I'm pretty much ruling them two out. And we're going to go between Leno and Lloris. Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to go Lloris on this one. I think his club form was fantastic. I've made a lot of teams with him. Obviously, got a lot of really good French centre-backs to make it with. And Leno just loses out on that one. So if I had to pick like a top four, it would be Lloris, followed by Leno, followed by Ter Stegen, followed by Handanovic. Next up is the get stuck in category, and we have got Lee Catamol in here. Oh my god. So we've got Katira, Catamol, De Jong, and Gustavo. Now, if it was going to go on how dangerous and how dirty a player is, Catamol and De Jong would be like, you know, winning this. But in terms of it's like getting stuck in, making the most tackles, I've got to go with Gustavo on this. My boy Gustavo. He's such a good player. I love him on FIFA, and I also love him in real life. I think he's fantastic. Obviously he's a CDM. They're all CDMs, but Gustavo's an out-and-out CDM. He literally doesn't have like an attacking instinct in him. And as you can tell by there, he's got 84 defense. Kadira is fantastic at it as well. I think he's a really good player, but he is just simply injured too much. I know that doesn't really count on FIFA 16, but I'm trying to keep it in perspective as well. Followed by De Jong, and lastly, I'd put Catamol's 4th place on that one. Next up is Skill as the Light. Obviously, the main boy, Bolassi's in here. McGeady, surprisingly, is in there. Now, you're wondering why he's got an Everton badge. He was only on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. That's why he is obviously back as an Everton player after all the updates and stuff like that. Nani with his new Valencia card is there, as well as Maxime to finish it off. Now, it's a pretty easy one, this for me. I just going to throw out there, Balassi is going to win this. That's who I'm going to go for, just because of the fact that he's such a skiller on FIFA 16. He also had a really good start to the season in real life, but obviously it boiled down a little bit, and he got worse and worse, basically. Maxime had a decent season for Stuttgart, although they really struggled. And then you've obviously got Nani, who done well in the Euros, no doubt, but not the best player. So my top four for this one, I'm obviously voting Balassi, Then I go Nani second. I'd have a bit of Maxim at third, and I'd end with McGeady, because obviously he went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday, and overall he's not that good in FIFA, from what I've played with him anyway. Next up is pot shot. So this is the one where it's the long shot that they have, so that's what we're looking for. Hernandez is obviously renowned for his long shots. He is absolutely insane. Sigurdsson, free kick specialist, and he's also got a really good long shot on him as well. Çalhanoğlu, obviously a really good free kick specialist. All like Sigurdsson, them two are really closely linked. But he's also got incredible long shots. And Quagliarella as well, who I'm quite surprised to see in there. I know he's got a really good shot on him, but I didn't expect him to be in the long shots category. So, on this one, Hernandez is such a good player. I really like him on FIFA as well. But I haven't really seen much of him since he went to Juventus. I'm not a big fan of Serie A. I don't really follow it like religiously, but even then I haven't seen Hernandez too much. And you got Sigurdsson, who had a bad season for Swansea, but then obviously everyone knows his undoubted his quality. Çalhanoğlu obviously belting them in, so I'm thinking we're gonna have to go with Çalhanoğlu. I'll go with Hernandez second, because I would love to see that card still on FIFA 16. Sigurdsson as a third place, and then Quagliarella as a fourth. Next up is headers. Now, headers don't really matter on FIFA as much, obviously, unless you got Ibra, which I'm surprised Ibra isn't actually in this category. I think Ibra's heading on FIFA is absolutely insane, as much as Ibra is insane on FIFA for heading. So we got Adjuris, obviously with a big header on him in real life. He is insane. Slimani, not the tallest, but he still does get a lot of headers. Same with De Jong as well. And then we got Mandzukic. Now, if Mandzukic was playing regularly, I would have went for him. He is a player I really do like. Obviously, 86 physical puts him really good. I'm surprised with Slimani's 87 physical. Didn't know he had that. But for this one, I'm going to go with Adjuris. I've seen him play quite a lot. He's banged them in. A fair few being headers. Obviously, he's a tall, strong guy. So I'm going to put him number one. I'm going to put Mandzukic number two. Slimani number three. And then we'll end with De Jong. Next up is the players that have got the best 2 foot. So we've got Ben Yedder, who I haven't really seen use both feet. I'm guessing he can. I haven't really seen too much of him. Eriksson, who I know has got insane both feet capacity as such. Perisic, who are watching the Euros, he done really well. And Toni Kroos. I think my mind's pretty much made up on this one. I decided the 2 middle ones were kind of the ones I would have went for. I'd love to see Perisic to get a card, but for me, it's going to be Eriksson. So we're going to go with Eriksson number 1, Perisic number 2. Kroos number 3, I think he's got in his locker to use both feet. And then Ben Yedder number 4. One club man is next up. Obviously, these are the players that have stayed at their club the longest, and they haven't ever made a transfer out. And obviously, it tends to be players who are getting old a lot. Well, not getting old, getting older, getting on a bit. So we've got De Rossi, Totti, Terry, and Buffon. Now, for me, it's between Totti and Buffon. Totti is like almost like 39, 40. I'm not sure his actual age. And Buffon is like 36, 37, I believe. And you're just going to go with the player who's been there the most for me, and the player who's had the opportunities to leave but has never has. And that for me is Totti. He's going to be the one that I'm going to go for. Obviously, 39, 40, he's not even playing first team football, but still signed a new contract with Roma to stay there. Buffon gets a close second for me. He's obviously been at Juventus for a crazily long time. They got relegated, and a lot of players could have left. I think a lot of players did actually leave Juventus at the time, and Buffon stuck it in there. He was quite happy to play Serie B football, and ended up getting obviously promoted back to the Serie A, winning leagues and stuff like that now, and doing incredibly well. Obviously, we then got Terry and De Rossi. I've gone with De Rossi third. Again, a lot like the others, he's had a lot of opportunities to actually leave Roma, but never has. A lot of players, would have jumped ship. Manchester United have been interested in De Rossi in the past, and he's never actually left, so that's probably why he gets third. And then we end with Terry, who was obviously a great one-club man, but for me, the others beat him out on that. Next up is obviously the engine room. So we have got, let me scroll up a little bit. We have got Junuzovic, Milner, Willian, and Cavani. Now, I think there wasn't many players who actually beat Milner in terms of how much he ran last season, so that's going to be first place for me. I'm going to get that out of the way. I think Milner has got an incredible amount of stamina to keep going throughout matches. He absolutely works his socks off, and he actually got subbed quite a lot, which kind kind of brought down how much like he covered, but he was still pretty much like up there. I think he was in the top 5 of distance covered throughout the season. So we got Milner at number 1. I'm going to go with Janozovic, I think, as number 2 for Werder Bremen. I know he covers a hell of a lot of ground in the Bundesliga. Willian, number 3. And I'm going to go with Cavani 4. I don't really see Cavani as a player who like is the type to work hard for a team out of those 4 anyway. So yeah, Milner first, Janozovic second, Willian third, and Cavani 4th. Next up is a big category, actually. It is most improved. Obviously, these players are pretty much unknown before they start the Premier League season this season. Mahrez we've got, who's playing for Leicester, obviously. Dele Alli, who was actually in, I think, League 2 at the time with MK Dons. Might have been League 1, not too sure. But he's with MK Dons. He was earning rave reviews there, but nobody expected the type of step up that he did. We then got Vardy at number 3. Obviously went insane with his goal-scoring habits. And Eric Dyer, who was at Sporting Lisbon and was not really considered as much of a player, at number 4. So for this one, it's quite a struggle for this one. This is probably one of the hardest ones. I think the goalkeeper one was quite hard, and then this one. Because all 4 players have been absolutely exceptional. All 4 players have come from very difficult positions in their career as such. If I had to go through, like, throughout the career, I'd say Vardy, because obviously he came from non-league football. I don't know. I originally had Dele Alli as number 1. I've kind of like worked some of these out before, and I thought Dele Alli would be number 1, but I'm actually going to put Vardy as number 1. At the end of the day, he did come from non-league football. The more I think about it, the more I think about his journey, the more I think how incredible he has been. So I'm going to go with Vardy number 1. I put Dele Alli number 2nd, number 2 even. Mahrez number 3, and then Dyer number 4. I just think, as much as I'd like to see a Mahrez card, or like, to be fair, all of them have got team of the seasons, but I would like to see a Mahrez card come out again. But for me, it's just got to be Vardy. Next up is the Maestro. Now, these players are obviously the players who get the most assists and, set up potential chances. So we've got David Silva, Ozil, Pjanic, and De Bruyne. Now, obviously, Silva had a bit of a disappointing season for me. I thought he could have done a lot better. We've got Ozil, who obviously went on a crazy assist streak at the start of the season, but again, fizzled out towards the end of the season. We've got Pjanic, Juventus card, which would be insane to get. Had a really good season with Roma, obviously made that big money move to Juventus. And then we got De Bruyne, who, apart from an injury, would have been insane too. So for me, I'm going to go with Pjanic. For one, I'd really like to see his new Juventus card get a bump up. He was insane for Roma last season. I'll go with De Bruyne too, only because injuries kept him out of it, and I think he deserved a bit more credit as such. Ozil free for the insane assist run that he went on, and then we'll end with David Silva. So Pjanic vote for me. And we end on the big one, basically. Class is permanent. Eto'o, Hernandez, Diarra, and Ben Arfa. These players who basically, their careers look like they were either failing or struggling, and they ended up being insane last season. So you've got Eto'o. Obviously, I think he's like 34, and no one's doubting his ability to play football and how crazy he was. But he went to Everton and failed miserably. Ends up getting sold somewhere else or left on a free, I can't remember. And he's now playing for, I think it's Kayserispor in Turkey. We then got Hernandez, who was an outcast at Manchester United. Then went to Bayer Leverkusen and has been banging them in. We've got Diarra, who his career stalled when he went to Russia, and he ended up going back to France and playing in French football, playing for Marseille, and had an insane season. And Ben Arfa, who ended up going to Hull on loan, and has now got a transfer to PSG. That's how good he's been. So for me, I'm going to go for Ben Arfa. His career looked like it was pretty much dead in the water. I could not see him getting a new club. And he ends up going to Nice, playing incredible, and has now got a transfer to PSG. So for me, he's number 1. I go for Hernandez at number 2. Obviously an outcast at Man U. Didn't really get too much of a chance, but now he's playing first team football at Bayer Leverkusen. He is absolutely banging them in. We go with Eto'o at number 3. I think a player of his age to do what he's doing is incredible, albeit in Turkey. And then we end up with Diarra. I think it was kind of his own fault for going to Russia even, chasing the money. But yeah, he's got his career back on track, so fair play to him. And we end up with a 4+7 question. Obviously, that's 37. So yeah, there's my vote submitted, guys. If you enjoy, leave a like in the comments. Leave a like in the comments. Leave a like. Put a comment if you think, something different, if I've gone, really, really wrong somewhere. And obviously, if you think differently. But, guys, I will see you in the next video.